This is the City of London Cemetery. The first thing to be said is that this cemetery is nowhere near the City of London. It's actually based a few miles away on the edge of Essex, near the town of Ilford. Another thing we need to know is that it's a site of some 200 acres. It is huge. This is my first visit here, and we're just going to follow a few paths, amble around and see what we can find. Just pick the few names off of these large ones. One here to Julia, the wife of Joseph Lucas. The next one is Frederick Clark. He died in 1876. This is Charles Hussey, who died in 1885. This one is to William Dawson, late of Plaistow, 1875. William Langman, 1886, just 32 years old. And so on down the row of the larger memorials. Interesting names on this memorial here. This one is to Gerd Heinrich Conrad Pickel, 1885. Broken pillar here. Description of a broken life usually means they died before their time. And this one's got an interesting name. This is to Samuel Charles Cakebread, and he was just 34 years. Striking figure of an angel here, very well done. We come down the stone, and it's to Harriet Appleby. It's a very busy cemetery. There appear to be a number of funerals going on today. There are also various tractors and diggers moving around. I get the suspicion that the old trade of gravedigger now involves driving a JCB and digging the grave that way. I may be wrong. And here, in a very clear Art Deco style, and if we look at the inscription, it's to Edwin Herbert Anthony, who passed away 1938, and that was the peak of the Art Deco period. Several large memorials here. This angel with the cross is on top of the memorial to John James Fox, who died in 1916, aged 51 years. This one is to the Adlingtons, and if we look part way down, we can see her son, Captain L.R. Adlington, Essex Regiment, who was killed in Burma, the 8th of May 1941, just 31 years old. Clearly a recent memorial here. We can see it's to Ron Smith. We have an image of a jolly looking chap with plenty of drink in front of him. And there's a long poem to him, commencing, "Don't cry for me, just a Romany boy from Manor Park, driving horses and having a lark. Growing up eager with money to get, the love of gambling and having a bet." A small stone here to Lord Elwyn Jones, much loved husband of Polly Binder, MP, West Ham South, Lord Chancellor. You certainly know that name. There's a Art Deco grave here, but not from the Art Deco period. This is Robert Joseph Cook, who died in 1971. but the design of the stone in the Art Deco style makes it stand out from everything else around it. Very elaborate, large memorial here. The family name is Darlison. This memorial is to those that were buried at two churches that were later taken down. And on the sides we have lists of names of those people that were reinterred. We've got two names here who died on the same day, presumably from action during the war. Harold George Huggett, killed 20th of March 1941, aged 41, and his friend Arthur James Gorham, killed on the same day, and he also was 41 years old. Could have been a bomb dropping in London or something similar. This one's a little unusual. We've got the broken column, which signifies a life bought short, but on the base of the memorial they've actually placed the piece that would have been on the top of the column. Another one in the Art Deco style. This one's to Agnes Denholm, who died in 1939, aged 40. Quite a distinctive style to that gravestone. It really does stand out amongst its companions. Stanley William Green, Sergeant Observer in the RAF, killed in a flying accident in 1941, aged 25. An uncommon surname here, Sarah Jane Shonk, and her husband Edward Shonk. There's a war grave here, J.A. Sigston, Corporal, Royal Air Force, 1942, aged 29. At the bottom are the words which the family would have paid to put on. Someday, sometime, our eyes shall see the face we keep in memory. And one here hidden amongst the trees. I've had to scramble through the branches here to get it. It is Aircraftsman A.R.T. Fieldhouse, Royal Air Force, 1944, age 19. Easy to miss this one. This tree is almost completely covering it. A distinctive feature about this one is that the figure of a saint, or possibly Christ, is carrying a lantern. Normally these stones have plenty of angels on them, but here we have one of, I think it's Christ with the lantern on the stone. I read that buried in this cemetery are two of the victims of Jack the Ripper. I suspect they're not buried in individual graves, probably in multiple paupers' graves. But somewhere in here are two of the victims from Jack the Ripper. Interesting design on this one. On the vertical part we have a cockerel. At the front here we have a dog. On one side we have a man racing a chariot, and on the other is a hare in full flight. But even stranger is that there's no words or dates on this memorial apart from the name Amos. Is it a riddle? There's a lot going on here. It looks to be at least 7 people helping a dying man from the cross, or up onto the cross. Very elaborate. If we come down to the bottom here, you can see the inscription is to David John Vigeland, RN, who appears to have died in Mombasa, East Africa. Well, that's a brief walk through the City of London cemetery. There is a lot to see here. You could spend several days and not see it all. Anyway, hopefully that's an introduction. It's well worth a visit. Come on and spend some time exploring it. Till the next time.